There's a gentleman smoking while using an acoustic coupler. He's sending an email with a payphone. This was the early 1980s. Jim Morrison and Pamela Courson, Los Angeles, 1969. Anna Nicole Smith is one of the most desirable women of the 90s. Santa Claus Greets Children in New York City, 1900. These vintage studio photos feature a Victorian baby. The baby's half face is hidden. The mother is also present. Madonna, 1982. An enslaved child is in Arab-ruled Zanzibar in 1890. Medical personnel with the 2nd Armoured Division pause to look at a sign made by local French citizens thanking them in Normandy, France on the 4th of July, 1944. A young woman is holding her arms and legs in 4 water baths with electric current to improve blood circulation back in 1938. This is a portrait of hockey goalie Terry Sawchuk before face masks were standard around 1966. The year is around 1945. There are workers at a telephone switchboard. Franklin Delano Roosevelt at his birthday party. Everyone was dressed as Romans. It was 1934. Pablo Picasso and Françoise Gillot, 1948. In 1928, a figure known as the Iceman could be seen delivering a 25-pound ice block in Houston, Texas. The Wendy's logo was based on Wendy Morse. Her father, Dave Thomas, founded the fast food chain. You can see a younger version of her here. Here we have a United States mail truck from the 1940s. Max Factor is taking precise measurements of a young woman's head and face with his beauty calibrator in 1932. Beauty has never been so horrifying. Butterfly Princess, a child, Mrs. J. F. Fisher. This was sometime between February 1894 and February 1901. Abraham Lincoln's funeral hearse was elaborate and ornate, 1865. British hurdler Percy Hodge demonstrates the perfect obstacle jump while carrying a bottle and a glass on a tray. Percy Hodge became an Olympic champion in the 3,000-metre hurdles in 1920. This is about a slip-tongue log skidder. It was used so a logging crew could drag a log across really steep, rough terrain. They'd bring it to a staging area, where it would be loaded onto a logging railroad. It was used in the early 20th century. Jefferson County Mobile Library, Texas. The first mobile library was in 1925. Post-war deportations of ethnic Germans from Czechoslovakia. They wear an N on their clothes that stands for Nemec, which means German. This was in January 1946. It's a sales meeting of Select Baking Company happening in 1936. The 1930s. A Chinese Buddhist monks walking on a chain bridge at Zhangyu Figure Hill Temple in China. African American students are arriving at Baltimore, Maryland's newly integrated Southern High School. White students are walking behind them with a sign. The sign reads, "Southern Don't Want Negroes," from 1954. Diana Rigg and Helen Mirren are in the grounds at Compton Verney between takes of A Midsummer Night's Dream in 1968. Courtney Love, Milos Forman and Edward Norton were there during the filming of The People vs. Larry Flynt in 1996. "24-year-old Mark Twain." There was a flood in Moscow on April 11th, 1908. Wichita police officer Terry Morrow is emptying the pockets of James Allen Kirby after he shot up his middle school. This happened in Kansas in 1985. Bruce Lee is training Sharon Tate in combat, teaching her how to kick sometime in the late 1960s. (506th) PR Commander Colonel Robert Sink and officers of the 101st Airborne Division are getting flowers from a local French little girl after an award ceremony in Carentan, France in 1944. Raquel Welch, born in 1940, was an actress, singer and model. She rose to prominence during the 1960s. She was known for her roles in Fantastic Voyage in 1966 and 1 Million Years BC the same year. François Mercier, a dedicated mechanic, played a vital role in assembling the groundbreaking steam vehicle, Le Mans, France, 1873. There's a photograph of a little boy carrying a newborn lamb. The photo was taken in Scotland back in 1932. A Chinese aviatrix receives a gift in Washington, D.C., 1939. Body armor testing, Washington, 1923. This is the oldest picture of the White House ever taken in 1846. Unloading of the finished tunnel section of the Michigan Central Railway Company, Detroit, 1910. There's a beautiful little girl in New York in 1958. Russian politician Vladimir Zhirinovsky throws stones and dirt at Jewish students who accused him of anti-Semitism. The situation becomes even more confusing when you consider that Zhirinovsky was Jewish. This happened in Strasbourg in 1992. The Muffin Man, London, England, 1910. Salvador Hector Sarita, a little 6-year-old motorcyclist. Buenos Aires, 1936. Let's take a look at daily life and the architecture in Westminster during the late Victorian era. This was London, 1895. The Endurance is being slowly crushed by ice while its crew looks on helpless. Antarctica, 1915. Cameron Diaz, the 1990s. Charlotte Greenwood demonstrates stretching at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. This was in the United States in 1928. The person had a craniofacial injury. He was a French soldier with a wound on the bridge of his nose and one eye closed. This was before plastic surgery. The photograph was taken in 1915. The Golden Gate Bridge under construction, circa 1935. The New York to Paris race began in 1908. Maxim Gorky, Nizhny Novgorod, 1901. A farm boy in Goshen, Indiana is tending to his chickens with a toy wheelbarrow. It was probably used to deliver corn for feeding. This was in the 1930s or 1940s. So there are two founders of Czechoslovakia, Tomáš Masaryk and Edvard Beneš, relaxing on a lawn. It's at a chateau in Topolčianky, and the year is 1928. Russian President Boris Yeltsin, dancing at a rock concert in Rostov in 1996. Hiroshima. Before the atomic bomb, it was a city of approximately 280,000 people. On August 6, 1945, the city was devastated by a single atomic bomb. The bomb destroyed nearly 60,000 buildings. So there's this group called Bad Girls in London during the 1950s. Ferdinand Porsche is showing a model of the Volkswagen Beetle to Adolf Hitler in 1935. LaSalle Street and Amsterdam Avenue, Haarlem, 1946. Photographer Tony Frissell is visiting with children in Europe around 1945. Jim Carrey, 1981. Biker Girl, from the United Kingdom during the 1980s. The Golden Ray. It was the 4th of March, 1930. The Blériot Golden Ray, or Rayon d'Or, passenger plane is being cranked around by hand on a large turntable. This aircraft operates a Paris to London service for the French Air Union. In 1944, Mount Vesuvius erupted. The eruption caused significant damage to the surrounding areas. The eruption began in March and lasted for several days. It destroyed many buildings and forced thousands of people to evacuate their homes. Volcanic ash and rock covered the area, causing further destruction. The eruption was a major event, and it remains a significant example of volcanic activity in the 20th century. Iggy Pop, raised by the crowd in a messianic pose, lived in Cincinnati in 1970. There's a cafe and a man is balancing a chair on his chin. This was in 1954 in Paris, France. A woman from the city of Ramallah, and her headdress is made out of rolls of silver coins. This was in 1898. Children in Paris are celebrating the liberation of Paris in August 1944. There are two spruce girls standing on the beach wearing spruce veneer bathing suits. This was probably in Hoquiam, Washington, in 1929. Jonas Salk developed the polio vaccine, protecting billions of people from a feared disease. A dreadnought in dazzle camouflage. It works, not by offering, but by making it difficult to estimate a target's range, speed, and heading. 1919. Amelia Earhart working on the plane in 1937. A British bulldog guards his home, barricaded during the Blitz around 1939 to 1945. German child soldiers, photographed on the 19th of March, 1945, after they'd been captured by the 6th US Armoured Division in Gießen, Germany. November 1966. Stagnant air trapped toxic smog over New York City for 3 days, killing 168 people. Alright, here we go. Studio photos of two women from the 1900s. McDonald's in the 1950s. Beer peddlers at Oktoberfest Munich 1928. A helmet with a built-in communication device, so the motorcycle rider can talk with the passenger in the back seat. This was from the 1960s. A boy from Bessarabia is wearing a worn hat and overcoat. He hasn't had any new clothes in 5 years and has had to do his own mending. He doesn't know what happened to his parents, having been lost in a refugee movement in 1919. Aircrew, the mascot of the Cressy Royal Air Force Flying School, 1943. Richard J. Gatling, shown with a Bulldog model of 1893. This is believed to be the earliest photograph of New York City. It was taken at Broadway between Franklin and Leonard Streets in May 1850. The Lion of Munster, Clemens August. Graf von Galen, the German count and Roman Catholic bishop, stood up to Hitler around 1940. Keanu Reeves, 1989. Jailhouse Rock. May of 1941. It's a convict camp in Greene County, Georgia. The guitarist is bluesman Buddy Moss. July 28, 1925. Washington, D.C. Undelivered mail of World War soldiers with a crucifix in a bottle. Keepers are riding llamas on the private property of Mr. Wingfield's. This was in England in 1911. Las Vegas in 1942. A rather unusual accident, Boston, in the 1930s. A United States Air Force lieutenant is held captive by a young North Vietnamese soldier, 1967. A blind man is testing a device that lets you hear light. It's an invention for the blind, and it was in 1912. A family is playing on a unique 4-person homemade swing in Finland, 1954. The crew members of the B-29 Superfortress Enola Gay are on parade in 1945. Bread being handed out to captured Soviet soldiers at a German prison camp in occupied Soviet Ukraine, July 1941. Young oyster shuckers in South Carolina, 1912. Josie, 6 years old, Bertha, also 6 years old, and Sophie, 10 years old, began work at 4 in the morning. It looks like we've got an amphibious vehicle in London from 1935. Secret Service agent Clint Hill jumps aboard the presidential limo to act as a protective shield for John F. Kennedy, moments after the gunshot that took the president's life on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. Window cleaners wearing suits, which really shows what people wore back then. It's the 1920s. A Annette Kellerman posing in the swimsuit that got her arrested for indecency, 1907. Audrey Hepburn, 1967. Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi is handing out new land deeds to village women. This was part of the land reforms of the White Revolution, which aimed to redistribute land traditionally owned by the clergy. This was in Iran during the 1960s. American amateur inventor Russell Oakes came up with a special fork that twisted spaghetti, 1955. The Flatiron Building on Fifth Avenue and Broadway in 1920. A massive mushroom cloud rises above Hiroshima, Japan, 2 minutes after an atomic bomb exploded over the city. It was August 6, 1945. Dr. Ribeiro, a Goan physician, is riding his zebra on the streets of Nairobi in the early 1900s. He played a key role in containing the plague outbreaks in 1905 and 1906. Not married, but willing to be. Countess di Castiglione, around 1863 to 1866. Point Lookout, Tennessee in the 1880s. The airship Le Jaune is flying past the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, 1903. Catwoman, New Guinea, 1970. Ernest Hemingway in St. Mark's Square, Venice, 1954. Soviet peasant women were learning how to read and write in Soviet Russia in 1931.